Hello everyone, and welcome to Kareniya's room. As you can see, we are in a video game this time around, which I know is not quite what I'm usually used to making, but I feel I want to put something out here for you people. So now that I have a rig that can run video games rather well, I will make this video. So what are we doing in this video? So very simple. I'm going to be just running through kind of what I've been working on for Genshin Impact over these 2 years. If that sounds interesting to you, keep watching. Otherwise, you can skip this if you really wish, because it's nothing fancy. It's just kind of here for Genshin players. Just because I never have said I'm a Genshin player, but I have made it kind of obvious I know what Genshin is. So let's kind of talk about what I'm working with here. Now I have, let's go to our archive here real fast. So we have the character archive, which gives us a list of all characters in the video game. And as you can see, there is not very many that are grayed out, which means I have a lot of characters. Now, does that mean all of them are built? No. But obviously, let's just run through a quick few characters that I do not have and probably why I don't have them, because some of them will have different reasons. So first we have Venti. I had wanted to get him at some point, but he's always paired with other characters that I'm either like wanting more, or he's coming up before a character banner that I am looking forward to, which can explain a lot of the characters that are marked in here. Albedo, I do want to get him eventually, but much like Venti and a couple other characters here, he always runs on banners before ones or alongside ones that I would rather pull for. So he's always a skip, unfortunately, but I do need him eventually. Maybe one time I'll have to sacrifice somebody. Ganyu. I love Ganyu. Just never really wanted to pull for her, necessarily. I'm sorry. We have Xiao, which, I mean, it's a very fun playstyle, which he does, because he can pogo up and down and do damage with plunge attacks constantly, but it's just he's never been a character that I've really wanted to grab, especially because he's, once again, a lot of these characters are always paired with people that I'm wanting more. Eula, I wanted Eula for the longest time. I think, you know, her character is very interesting. She's very pretty. But her gameplay style is just really not for me. I really do not like the way she plays. So she's always kind of a perpetual skip. Yoimiya is the one I really want. But once again, these characters always run near Archons or characters I'm really interested in, so no bones. Shenhe, my queen, Shenhe. I still have not gotten her yet, but I do plan on getting her eventually when her next banner comes around, because I really want her for my Ayaka. She is my favorite female character in the video game. She is very gorgeous, and she is a really good buffer for Cryo, which is not just good for her, but good for my other beloved, let's say. Who's next? Tainari. I never pulled for him on the banner when he was a limited character, so I can only really get him on regular pulls, and he has never shown up, so I'm waiting for him. But I want him because he's very good. Nilou is very niche. I didn't really care for Nilou, like, as a playstyle. I like her as a character, but playstyle-wise, not really. And she's kind of limited because you can only really benefit her if you use her in teams of Hydro, which she is, and Dendro. So, And then we have Dia, who is very unfortunately not very good. But she's in the regular pool, so you can get her, like, anytime. I just haven't gotten her, though. And then we have Linny, which I like his playstyle. It's kind of fun, but this guy was coming up in the next patch, so I was saving for him. So he was unfortunately a skip. Fremine, we have just been announced that we're going to be getting a free copy of him in an update for the 4.2 patch, so I didn't really want to pull for him, and like just because he was on the banner, because I didn't want to risk losing what I had guaranteed to get him. So I will get him eventually. He's the only 4-star I do not have. And then Ridesley, I mean, the Archon is pretty close by, so I'm going to hope that I can get her. So he had to unfortunately be a skip, even though I think as a character he is pretty cool. And other than that, that's it for characters that I do not have. What is this? I see, okay. Free money. Alright. But let's get a look at our characters. So this is all the characters I have, and it is a lot, so we're not going to run through them all very super detailed, but let's go through it. So Nuviette is my newest addition to the team, and I am in love. Like, you can see he's my icon, he's the character that I've been using at the beginning of this video. So, okay, that's not what I meant to open. So here's what he's running. He's running 32k HP. With some hydro damage bonus, 48 crit rate, and 278 crit damage. Any Genshin player might see this and think this is kind of low for crit rate. You're not really going to crit all that much. But we'll get to that. He's currently running his signature weapon, the Tome of the Eternal Flow, which gives him a little bit of base attack and a lot of crit damage, which is just very nice. Very, very good. But this is why the crit rate doesn't really matter that much. Because of the Marechaussee Hunter set. Which, apart from the 2-piece giving him normal and charge attack damage increase of 15%, will also increase crit rate by 12%, which can stack up to 3 times every time HP increases or decreases. Which, with this particular character, because his normal attacks will decrease and increase his health, it's perfect. So he is running no constellations, and he only has 1 crown, which crowns mean max level skill, for his normal attacks. He's currently level 90 and friendship 8, blah 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 blah. Official, we have her here.
I created another universe.
Okay, sorry, she talks a lot. I just mostly was stacking EM, and that was really about it. Her other stats are very mediocre, but that's not to say she's mediocre. It's just my build is not really good. She's running this Refinement 5 Stringless for the Elemental Mastery, as well as the burst and skill damage increase by 48%, which is very nice. Golden Troop is the artifact that she's running, which elemental skill damage increase by 20%. Already on its own is pretty good, but the 4-piece will increase the skill damage by 25% extra. And when she's not on the field, which for the most part she's not going to be, it will increase by another 25%. So an extra 50% damage from the 4-piece set, which is insane. She's Constellation 6, so she's running at optimum capacity. And I have only gotten 1 max level on her skill for Knight Rider, which is Oz. So, but that's all you really need. Kazuha, stats are kind of whatever. I'm mostly farming for his Elemental Mastery, which I have a lot of, so that's all you really need. He's running an R4, which is Refinement 4. Iron Sting, which I'm very close to an R5, which I really want, just to get that extra from 10.5 to 12% damage, which is not a ton, but it's at least more damage. I'll take it. He is on the 4-piece Viridescent Venerer set, which increases Animo damage bonus by 15% and increases swirl damage, which means if you are covering an enemy with Pyro and you swirl with Animo with the Pyro, this will increase the damage, or in this case decrease the elemental resistance of the particular element, and causing that element to do more damage. So if you hit a normal enemy for about 1,000 damage regularly with Pyro, and if you swirl it, let's not go like a crazy number. Let's get like 1,300 damage. Like it's good. It'll go up. So that's all you need. I have no constellations for him. I have no constellations for most of my 5 stars, because I don't like pulling for constellations for 5 stars. I'd much rather just get new characters and have fun with them rather than get constellations. But there are some which I am thinking of getting, so it is what it is. And then talents, he has max skill and burst. But I am planning on also eventually getting this to max level, but of course I'm missing a couple things. These are easy to get. These are relatively easy to get. This is not, because you got to get them from events, so otherwise good. And we have Zhongli, my favorite Mr. Shield Man. I'm not going to listen to him say that again. So he is mostly just stacking max HP for the beefy shield, because his shield stacks on max HP. I don't know why he has 100 elemental mastery. He doesn't need it because he's Geo. Stats here don't really matter all that much, but he does have a decent amount of energy recharge. He is on the R2 Skyward Spine, which I could easily swap him for the Staff of Homa, which I have an R2 Staff of Homa, but he's going to be this because I need him for energy recharge purposes. He's running on a 2-piece Nasty the Millilith set, or 4-piece I mean, which will increase the HP by 20%, and when an elemental skill hits an opponent, the attack of all nearby party members is increased by 20, and the shield strength is increased. The shield strength really doesn't matter, but the attack boost is very nice. This is the only limited 5-star character in which I have more than one constellation. I have a C2, mostly because I wanted the C1 for my own purposes, but also because I co-op a lot. The C2 is very nice because anytime you use your Elemental Burst, Planet Befall, which by the way, these are both max level, this will give shields to every person in co-op. So, very nice. I like that. And then as you've seen right there. Next up, one of my favorite DPS characters is Mr. Arataki Ito. So he has about 1,300 attack, 2,200 defense, because he's a defense scaling character, as are most modern Geo characters who scale on defense. He is at 56 and 265, with this could be a little bit better. And he has a little bit of Geo damage bonus. I currently have him on his signature weapon, the Red Horn Stone Thresher, which has the same baseline stats as Nuviette's weapon, funny enough. He is on the 4-piece Husk of Opulent Dreams set. He has a Constellation 1, which just gives him extra stacks for his whole kit, because he gains stacks and he can do multiple swings and do more damage. So it's just a little bit of quality of life, which is kind of nice. And he is one of the only characters in the entire game which I have maxed all the skills, because they're all useful. In my opinion, they're all useful. Tartaglia is one I don't tend to use very much anymore, but I still have fun with him from time to time. He's currently on 53,192 for crit rate and crit damage with a little bit of energy recharge. He's got 1,800 attack. It is what it is. On a Skyward Harp. He's on a 4-piece Heart of Depth set, which, I mean, I think is good for him. I don't know if there's whatever set otherwise is good for him, but this is the one I use. He has no constellations as tradition, and he has his max level skill and burst. He was the first character I think I ever got over 100,000 damage with, which is impressive. Now, my first character that I ever mained, Rosaria. She has a nice amount of beefy attack. She has an 81 crit rate and 169 crit damage, which is about roughly 1 to 2, I think. It's not too bad. Her energy recharge is very bad, though, but we're going to ignore that. She is running on the Primordial Jade Winged Spear, which is very nice. And she's only on a 2-piece Blizzard Strayer because I do not have a 4-piece for her because I have not farmed anything for her, which is unfortunate because she used to be my favorite character and still kind of is to this day. But she's not the one I use a lot. She is C6, and I have triple crowned her, so all her skills are maxed. Because she deserves it. Then we have, well, his name is The Wanderer, but you get to rename him at the end of the Sumeru Archon quest, so his name for me is Steve. He has 1800 attack, a little, very tiny bit of elemental mastery, a decent enough crit ratio, a little bit of energy recharge, a little bit of animo damage. He is running his signature weapon, the Tule Tule's Remembrance, which I think is how you pronounce that. Apologize. He is on the 4-piece Desert Pavilion Chronicle set, which is basically tailor-made for him. No constellations. And one of the other characters that has all 3 skills. Then we have Kamisato Ayaka.
A blade.
I'm just going to not let her speak. She has a decent amount of attack. She's at 37,207, which is not too bad. But the problem is that crit rate is very low, which normally would not be a problem if I had the proper artifact set for her, but I don't, so it's not very good. She is running on an R3 Ame no Ma Kageuchi, which I don't know if it's good for her, but it has been recommended, and also it kind of looks good on her, so I mean, hey, why not? Look at it. It's like katana, and it looks very stylish. She is on a 2-piece Blizzard Strayer and a 2-piece Shimenawa's Reminiscence, so cryo damage bonus and plus attack, which is not optimal. Optimal would be to get the 4-piece Blizzard Strayer, because you get more crit rate, and you don't have to worry so much about crit rate. I have a Constellation 1 on her, which, I mean, it's very mild use. It's not super useful. And then I have got crowned her normal attacks and her burst. I don't really plan on crowning this, though. Sino. Now, Sino is an interesting one. I'm kind of having a bit of a building spree with him lately. I'm working on him. He's got 1600 attack, 64 to 219, not too bad, with 61.6 electro damage bonus. He is currently running on the new Battle Pass Spear, the Ballad of the Fjords. I have it at R2 right now. I will eventually get this to R5 to increase his elemental mastery by, let me see how much it is every time. I assume it is by intervals of 30. So 150 right now, and then 180, 210, and then 240. Elemental mastery is how much you will gain if you have different types of elements in your party, which is very easy to do. Because the team I run him with is typically him, Baiju, Nahida, and not Kokomi, Yelan. Sorry. He is running on 2-piece Thundering Fury for electro damage bonus and 2-piece Flower of Paradise Lost for now. I'm intending on getting him the full Thundering Fury set, but I have not gotten around to it just yet. He is at C0, and I have him at 999. Do I plan on crowning anything that he has? Probably not. But he is a fun character to use in the right team. The Raiden Shogun. This is one that I don't really have a great build on. She's got 49, 151, which is not great, but it's not too bad. She's got a bit of energy recharge here, which is very important. She is on the Refinement 5, the Catch, because I do not have her signature weapon, because I am not pulling for that weapon. I barely pull for signature weapons, even though I've basically shown off like 3. But this works just fine as a free-to-play weapon. She's on the optimal set for any character that uses energy recharge, which is Emblem of Severed Fate. I have her at Constellation 1, which it is what it is. It just helps her gain her skill faster, or her burst power faster. And then I have max leveled her burst, because I use her as a burst DPS. Now Kuching I have like leveled to 90, but I don't have any artifacts on her. She's at C1, which I just got today, sadly. She has 888 talents, and she is riding with a Refinement 5 Lion's Roar. I have not decided to build her yet again. I used to have a build on her, but it is what it is. Then we have Baiju. He's a nice Dendro healer. His stats are whatever. He has a ton of crit damage that I really don't need on him, and he's got a bit of decent energy recharge with some healing bonus. He is on the Favonius Codex, which is Refinement 5, which gives, a 100% chance to generate elemental particles every time you have a crit hit, which my crit rate is womp womp, so I'm using this mostly just for the energy recharge. He's running on a 2-piece Voruksha's Glow for the HP, and a 2-piece Maiden Beloved for the healing effectiveness, which makes him heal a crazy amount. He has no constellations, and he is at 2, 8, and 8. You don't need to level these. I don't know why I even bothered. But these will increase your healing power and your shield absorption. So, do it. And we have one character who I really do like as well is Alhaitham.
Wait. Huh?
He has a decent amount of attack. He's got some elemental mastery. 64, 106 is not optimal. Like, he should have more crit damage. But I am running him on the Tokabo Shigure. So it is, unfortunately, elemental mastery time for Mr. Alhaitham. It is Refinement 5 because it was an event weapon. So, naturally. He is currently on a 4-piece Gilded Dreams, which is, I think, his optimal set. Especially because he is an on-field character. So, you'd want that. I have no constellations. And he has a crowned skill. I do plan on eventually getting this, but as you can see, I have none of these. I'm missing a few of these. Next up, who do we have? Nahida. I love this character a ton. Her story quest is very nice. Her participation in the Archon quest is very good. And, oh my goodness. I saved 2 patches for this character, hearing just how strong she was going to be. So here's my build for her. She is at 1300 attack, which, is fine enough, with 835 elemental mastery. These are whatever, and here I'm mostly relying on her for her elemental mastery, but she does have some Dendro damage bonus. She is on the Refinement 5 Sacrificial Fragments, mostly for this increase in elemental mastery. But this also helps out a lot because she can refresh her skill at an 80% chance at R5 for this, which is always nice if you do like a little bit of an attack and then you want to use the skill again. So you can just do it right away. She's on the 4-piece Deepwood Memory set, which is good for her. But you could also use Gilded Dreams if you so wish, depending on if you want her on-field or off-field. I tend to use her off-field, so she will use this. She has no constellations, though I hear this one is completely bonkers. And I have crowned her skill and her burst. Kamisato Ayato, the brother of Kamisato Ayaka. So he's about a modest bit of an attack with a little bit of elemental mastery, and he's going to be very noisy. So he is currently at 76 crit rate and 209 crit damage. Energy recharge is very lacking, and he has a little bit of hydro damage bonus. I'm currently running him on the Refinement 5 Black Sword, which is a Battle Pass weapon, because I do not have his Harangapaku, his main best in slot weapon, because I'm not going to pull for it. I don't need it. He is currently on only a 2-piece Heart of Depth because I have not been farming anything for him, which is ironic because I've been building a team around him lately, but it is what it is. He has no constellations, and I have crowned his skill and burst. Simple. Yelan. Now, my build is not particularly great, but even then, she still does a lot of damage. She is at 36 and 134 with 167 energy recharge, with 27,000 HP, and she's a HP scaling character, so that's ideal. I have her on the sacrificial bow, mostly for the attack and energy recharge, and for the chance to refresh the skill, which is always very useful for more damage. Much like Raiden, she is running on the Emblem of Severed Fate set, no constellations, and I have crowned her burst, because it is a great chunk of her damage. Kokomi. I have not changed much about Kokomi since I had gotten her, though I do plan on eventually changing up her build a little bit, because my current build is not particularly great. Obviously, she has no crit rate, because that's part of her whole design. She has a lot of HP. I'm running her on the Refinement 2 Prototype Amber, which is pretty decent for her because it gives her a big chunk of HP. Using a burst regenerates energy, and party members will regenerate HP every 2 seconds while this is happening. So, very good. She's currently on the 2-piece Maiden Beloved for healing effectiveness and the Ocean Hued Clam for healing bonus. I do plan on eventually getting her a Tenacity of the Millilith 4-piece set, because I've heard that is pretty good for her. Constellation 0, she does not need constellations, and I have crowned her skill, because this is a big chunk of her utility, is from the jellyfish. So, excellent. What do we got next? This is just the Traveler. I don't build the Traveler. Not usually, anyway. You're very noisy. So she's currently on Hydro. She's the only character that can change elements. She's on Hydro, but I tended to use her because of the Sapwood Blade. She was a decent Dendro when Dendro first came out, so that's what I mostly used her for. But otherwise, whatever. She used to have a Deepwood Memory set, but I kind of gave that over to Nahida once Nahida came out, so she's kind of been benched ever since. She is at C6 for every element except for Hydro, because the current last 2 Stella Fortuna for Hydro are not out yet. And they will probably be out by the time 4.2 comes out at least, because that'll probably give us another Stella Fortuna. Or maybe 2, who knows. And these are not leveled up, but I did level up her talents a bit on Dendro, so that's always good. Let's move on to a character that I actually have more to say about. Hu Tao. Okay, let me just stop her from saying that. So she has 41,000 HP, 1100 attack, very minor amount of elemental mastery, it's whatever. She has a 56 crit rate and 277 crit damage, which is a lot. And a little bit of pyro damage bonus. She's running the Refinement 2 Staff of Halma, which is probably my most powerful polearm. And I was not intending to get this. I was only trying to get this on the Nuviet banner. But because Hu Tao was running along with it, I got an R2 Staff of Halma. But do I completely regret it? Not really, because it's kind of busted. She's on the 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flames set. She is C0. And she is one of the other characters I have max leveled. Everything. Klee. I love Klee. She is very cute. As far as damage goes, could leave a bit to be desired. She has about 2200 attack, 58 134, which is whatever, with some pyro damage bonus. And yes, I do have her alternate skin because I bought the skin because it's very nice and I love it. She is currently on the Refinement 5 Dodoko Tails, which was all the way back in 1.6 when you can get this weapon, which you cannot get anymore, so tragic. But I have it, so. She's on a 2-piece Crimson Witch and 2-piece Gladiators, C0, and 999. She's still fun to play, even if she's not, like, optimal. I'm going to just briefly skip over to Luke, because I do not have really anything on him apart from this one artifact that I'm just kind of holding on to for, which is actually not too bad. So yeah, it's just whatever. He is currently rocking the Wolf's Gravestone. He is my only C6 5-star. But I'm not happy about this. And he has 888 talents, or 81111 talents. So, whatever. Goro. Now, Goro is... he's very niche. You know, he's only really like a geo buffer. Like buffing a specific element. We'll see another character like that very soon. But here's our stats. So he has 36 crit rate, 64 crit damage, doesn't really matter, with a good chunk of energy recharge and a little bit of geo damage. Like, he is not mostly made for damage, he's mostly made to scale with defense to increase his buffing abilities. He's currently on a Refinement 4 Favonius Warbow, which I'm going to see if I actually can get this to Refinement 5. I cannot. Okay. Tragic. He will have to wait for that, I guess. He is currently on the 2-piece Husk of Opulent Dreams for 30 defense, and Emblem of Severed Fate +2 for energy recharge. He is C6, which means he has optimal damage for Geo teams, which is mostly just Ito. And I have gotten his skill to 12, and I will get this leveled up if I can get one more of these books. And then he will have 12, and this will be increased damage for my Ito. Speaking of single element buffers, Faruzan. She kind of scales in attack, so that's why she's got a lot of attack. Every other stat is kind of forgotten about except for energy recharge. She's rocking an R5 end of the line because it has a higher base attack than a lot of my other weapons, plus it has energy recharge. Now, optimally, I could give her this Amos Bow, which gives her a lot more base attack, and if I switch that, she has 2700 attack. Very good. But her energy recharge goes down, and if you know anything about Faruzan, she is an energy hog. So, that's why she's holding that. She's on the 4-piece Viridescent Venerer set, which I do not know if that's good for her, but it is what she has. She's got C6, which makes her optimal for buffing animo characters such as Wanderer or Mr. Shikanoin Heizo. And she has 2, 10, and 12 talents. Speaking of Heizo, Shikanoin Heizo. This is, if you don't have Wanderer, you can use him. If you want an Animo DPS, also if you don't have Shao, he is currently at 63,200 with a little bit of attack. He has no EM, which is kind of bad. He is on an R5 Widsith, which can be good and can be bad. Also on a 4-piece Viridescent Venerer, which I think is good. He is at C5, which this C6 not existing is really making me angry. And he is very high talent levels. I plan on getting these up to 9, 12, and 12, but I do not have the books. So, it is what it is. Now, Sucrose I used to use a lot, but she's currently missing an artifact, and she also has 4-star artifacts, but she does a 4-piece Viridescent. She has 408 Elemental Mastery right now, and I do plan on actually rebuilding her eventually. She's on an R5 Mappamare, or Mappamare, however you pronounce it, mostly for the Elemental Mastery, and for triggering elemental reactions grants a elemental damage bonus, which is nice. She is C5 and 5, 11, and 12 on the burst. Diona has had a build that I've had for the longest time, and it's not a very good build, I'll be honest with you. You know, this is whatever. I mostly stacked her with energy recharge because she's a decent enough battery. She has the R5 Favonius Warbow, and she's running Maiden Beloved 2-piece, which, I mean, is not bad. But she's also running Retracing Bolide, which only really benefits her. So this is kind of useless. Don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. She is C6, and her skill and burst are both crowned. Good for you, Diona. Now, Beidou. I want to build Beidou again. I'm just going to stop her before she says anything. I don't have any artifacts on her, so L. She is running the Skyward Pride. No artifacts. She is C6. And she is at 7, 11, 11 talents. I will build you Beidou. And we have Xingqiu, or Xingqiu as they pronounce him. So, build is whatever. I like the energy recharge, the hydro damage, but his other skills could be improved. He's on an R5 sack sword, which is a pretty ideal weapon for him. He's on a 4-piece emblem, which I sadly have 2 4-star artifacts, not 5 stars. So I will have to remedy that situation when I can. He is on a C6, and I have crowned his burst. Bennett is not super important.
Adventure team, assemble!
Mostly this, energy recharge, and a little bit of HP and attack. A lot of his stuff scales on base attack, so this is my highest scaling weapon as far as swords go. And it's R2, so enjoy. He's on 4-piece Noblesse Oblige, which is good for his burst, which is most of the reason you're using Bennett, is his burst. Which also, using the burst will increase party member attack for 20 seconds, or 20% for 12 seconds, which is very good. I have the C6. The C6 will not hurt you. And I have crowned the burst. Everything else is 6, 12, whatever. The bane of everybody's existence, Xiangling. I don't really care for her that much. I just know that she is good. But mine is not too good. She does have a lot of EM, though. She's running the R5 Dragon's Bane for that Elemental Mastery buff. And also for, I guess the effect works for her. She's on a 4-piece emblem set as well. She is C6. And she is 1, 7, and 12. Jean is basically not built. I kind of stole her artifacts for other characters. She's rocking the Kagotsurube Ishin, which is a sword that you get from the Kazuha story quest. I only have it on her because it's a attack sword, and she scales off of attack, which is weird for a healer character. She is C1, which I don't mind the C1 because the Gale Blade, which is her elemental skill, has better pull power, which is nice. And it's always fun to just pull them and shoot them into the air. And she is at 4, 8, and 8. I will eventually get you leveled up, Jean. Mona is not leveled up for really anything. She just has a non-leveled up instructor set for the effect of it, which I mostly just use for damage testing. She is rocking the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers, again, mostly just for the weapons testing. She is C0, and she is at 1, 1, and 8. I've only really leveled this one up because it's good for damage testing showcase purposes. Right, Mona? Yoonjin. I think this is our... No, that's not our first level 80 character. I'm building her right now, and I think she's really good. I've given her a lot of energy recharge and a lot of defense because a lot of her stuff scales on defense. She's running a Favonius Lance at level 50 because I haven't really bothered to level this up, but I actually can, so let's give it a level. Why not? I don't know what... I know I'm taking time out of this to do this, but it's fine. We'll just do this real quick. Just to give her a little bit of a buff, because she needs it. I'm really having fun with Yoonjin. Alright, I'll worry about the rest of that later. Anyway, it is R5, now it's level 60. She is running a 2-piece Emblem of Severed Fate and a 2-piece Husk of Opulent Dreams, just like Goro. Because I think that's optimal for her, because it's defense and ER. She is C6, and she is 1, 9, and 11. She is mostly used for normal attack scaling, or normal attack using characters, so she is the one that I always use for my Ayato. Sayu's not built, so I will just show you her weapon, which is just a Fav Greatsword, not really leveled up. She is C3 and has a few levels to her talents. Yao Yao. She has a nice chunk of HP, a little bit of ER, a little bit of healing bonus. She's very cute. She is running the Favonius Lance R5 because energy recharge is very good, doing crit hits, and it's the best spear I had for her. She's in a 4-piece Maiden Beloved, even though she probably would be optimal on another set. She is C5, which I really wish I had the C6, so then I could have a full C6, but it is what it is. And I have her at 1, 10, and 8 talents. This is a character I'm trying to work on eventually, but I keep forgetting about her, is Yae Miko. She is running just a low-level Widsith, a couple random artifacts, which I have been putting on her. She is at C0 and 1, 5, and 5. I can't even level this up because I don't even have these. Speaking of characters that I have not leveled up, let's just go through now a quick speed run of some of the characters who I do not have leveled up. Ningguang. I love her design. I love a lot of things about her, but she ain't got nothing. I mean, she got a weapon, she got constellations, she got some leveled up talents, but that's about it. Same with Lisa. She has a low level weapon. She doesn't have any artifacts. She is a constellation too, which I'm happy with. And I have not leveled up any of her talents. I have basically ignored Aloy. We have Chi-Chi. She is rocking the Fav sword for some reason and has 2 random artifacts, which this is kind of a bonkers piece because I mean it's got a good crit rate, crit damage on it with some EM, but its energy recharge is kind of weird. And I guess she just has an attack piece with 10 crit rate, so not that's fine. This is the bane of my existence because she's now C2 and she only has minor talent levels. Noelle has basically been ignored. Like, she got nothing. Just a white blind, which I used to put on Ito before I got his weapon. Nothing. C6. And very minor level talents. Same thing with Kaya. Just rocking a sacrificial sword. He is my only C6 starter character. So between Amber, Lisa, and Kaya, he is the only one that is at C6. The other 2 are at C2, I believe, or C1. I think they're both a C2. I know Lisa is C2. And then he is mildly leveled up. Kuki Shinobu, I want to get around to working on her. Because she is very good for certain Dendro. But I just have not gotten around to it. She's rocking this for whatever reason. Dark Iron Sword. She's at C2. And she's not leveled up. I could kind of say the same with Sara. She does have a weapon that's mildly leveled up. She's at C4. But she's not leveled up in talents. Razor's basically ignored. He's got a weapon. He's got C6. And no talents. Kave has a weapon. He has one con. And a couple leveled up talents. And that's it. Kale has a Viridescent Hunt, which is... This used to be the weapon I would use on Tartaglia, but it's hers now. She has a couple artifacts of Deepwood, which I don't know if I'm actually going to ever build her, but she's just holding on to those. She's at C6 and is leveled up to 5/5. Barbara. She has nothing. She is at C6, but she is basically useless. Toma I want to build. He would be good for Dendro teams. He's rocking the R2 Kidding Cross Spear. He's at C6 and is at 277 talents. Then we have Amber. She's rocking a sack bow. She is at C2. And she has mildly leveled up talents. Lynette just is rocking some random sword. Is at a C1 and no talents apart from one of these two, which I only tested for and never really bothered with much else. Dory is Dory. She has a weapon which just looks good on her. She's at C6, which I really hate. And she has one talent that was leveled up once. Mika I've basically ignored. He's holding onto a black tassel. Is a C2 and no talents. Layla would be fun to build, but I just don't know what I would do with her. She has a weapon on her. C1 and no talents. Chongyun I've basically ignored. He's got the fishy. C3 and nothing. Kirara is another one I've kind of ignored. She's got a sack sword. She's got no constellations and no talents. Ignored. Candace has a weapon, which I just put on her because I thought it looked cool. She's at C2, no talents. Yanfei, Eye of Perception, R5. She is C6, no talents. And finally, Xinyan. She has a non-leveled up weapon, no artifacts. She's C4 and no talents. Was that fun? Or was that boring? I think it was fun, to some degree, but it was also kind of boring. But I just wanted to show off the progress that I have made over my 2 years of Genshin Impact. If you found this video interesting, please let me know. And if you want to see more stuff about games on this channel, I mean, I'm pretty free to do so. But otherwise, maybe not. I will continue with my anime content, don't you worry. But I wanted to throw out a video here. And I might have a supplementary video coming up, which is related to a certain thing known as Spiral Abyss. You might like it. But anyway, that's it for me. My name is Kareniya, and you're welcome in Kareniya's room. Have a good day.